Hey, good to have you here on this video. Today we're going to be talking about the irony of empathy. So if we don't know each other yet, I'm Michelle. I work as the soul translator as well as have the Sensate Soul, and where you can find the Empowered Empath Soul Camp and a lot of other resources and courses to help you if you are a sensitive or an empathic entrepreneur. Okay, so this topic today, the irony of empathy. There's this funny thing that I see all the time that the people I work with as well talk to me about all the time. And this is why I called this the irony of empathy. There's this kind of assumption that because if you're a sensitive or an empath, it means that you can be incredibly in tune with your own inner world, very empathic towards yourself. And, generally are like this, this bubble of compassion and kindness, and that you are generally very well adjusted. So all of that is still true for every empath and sensitive I know, probably including you if you're watching this video. But you'll probably agree with me that self-empathy is not exactly something that we can just do naturally. So I want to offer a couple reasons here for this, and also at the end give you just three quick inspirations of things that you can do when you want to have more empathy for yourself. So there's this thing called cognitive bias. Actually, I wrote down on a little thing here what cognitive bias actually is, the definition. Systematic patterns of deviation from the norm or rationality in judgment. If you look up cognitive bias in Wikipedia, there's like 100+ different types of bias that when you look through this list, you're like, oh my God, we can be really dense and biased people. All of us are. Underneath our bias is, I believe, and also in cognitive psychology, this is true, that underneath our bias often is our belief system. So that makes sense. Like, right, you've got like limited beliefs, and sometimes they're conscious, sometimes they're unconscious, things that have been developed from a lifetime of experiences, upbringing, so on and so forth. So we all have these, for better or for worse, belief systems, and that these create a cognitive bias. There is also another thing called the empathy gap. And what that basically means is the tendency to underestimate the strength or influence of emotions and feelings, whether that's in ourselves or others. Now you can probably imagine there's a whole problem with empathy gap in the world, and there's also, it's getting better, and empathy is becoming a hot and center topic for people in all sectors of life, so thank goodness. And also a lot of that we say nod our hat and curtsy to the wonderful work of Brene Brown, the social researcher. So this irony of empathy is really wild, because we think that because we're empaths and sensitives, we should be able to be incredibly kind and compassionate with ourselves as we are with others. Most of us in the world can be our own worst critics, but we can't assume just because we are empathic or sensitive that we are also that with ourselves. And the main reason for that is because of the cognitive bias that we have towards ourselves, which is run with those limited beliefs underneath that bring up all the negative stories and get us to, berate and belittle ourselves. No matter how empathic, no matter how sensitive and compassionate a being you are, there's still going to be that part of the human story and the human conditioning that we all have. Another part of this I want to add is like our blind spots are our blind spots sometimes for a good reason, in the sense like, well, maybe not the good reason is a good way to say it, but sometimes we have those blind spots because there's something that naturally we are able to do for others to help others, to help humanity, that we're not necessarily aware of, or we're not necessarily, we can't turn it on or off. It's just a real natural part of us. Empaths and sensitives have this natural ability to tune in and feel and sense, identify, and also help transmute the energies and emotions of others. We are really good at sensing the inner world of other sentient beings. This is this empathy that we automatically feel is a beautiful mechanism of bonding, healing, and connection. And that type of intimacy, of really being heard, being seen, being felt, being validated, acknowledged. So, and there's a whole other, of course, intuitive and channeling side to it. But it's also because sometimes it is such a natural way that we are, it doesn't necessarily mean it easily translates into what we can then do for ourselves. So let's talk about 3 brief things here that you can do next time you feel you're having a empathy gap with yourself. And I laugh because I like to giggle. But also this can be, used for those times where you're really just being a total shit to yourselves, and really need to back off and bring in some empathy and kindness to yourself. We all are learning how to be kinder with ourselves. So here is a simple practice. These are, I'm calling it the 3 S's. First is to soften. Not much can get in when we're in a tight state. That analogy of a closed fist can't receive anything. So letting yourself soften, letting your body soften. Empaths feel the resonation and the frequency of feelings and unconscious thoughts and mood states, energy states in their body. And so when you want to tune in to being kinder and more compassionate with yourself, and of course that's going to ripple out with others, first tune into your body and just soften. Soften the breath, soften the body, soften the grip, and just let yourself go into the second one, which is just let yourself get still, get silent. There's another S. And let yourself tune in to a gentle vibe of being alive, and just settle. So, and using your breath as well. So soften and then settle in. And the third one, sometimes I need to just move the energy. And if I'm having a thought that's going through my mind or a criticism that I just can't seem to shake, you might think this is funny, but believe me, it works, particularly for a lot of empaths, because we happen to have, I see a lot of problems, and I have experienced this myself, with the throat chakra, because often empaths are holding back what they want to say because they're so worried about disconnection, or and sometimes have challenges to be fully vocally expressing ourselves. So, and this is also a creativity challenge, a channel, not challenge, but it can be a challenge. But this is a creativity channel as well, where we voice our own individual frequency and expression. So sounding things out is the third one. So sometimes I will simply hum or sing or chant, or choose a mantra and say that over and over again in that soft and still centered meditation and beingness. And just, maybe you can say, I allow myself to feel and heal. I allow myself to feel and heal. So those are some examples of what you can do to help release some of the pent-up energies when we are not able to be empathetic or empathic with ourselves, and when we're giving ourselves a real shit time and putting ourselves down, and when we just need to release and change the frequency. So again, that's getting soft, soften the body, soften the breath, getting still, letting yourself settle in to your embodiment, and then doing some sounding, whether it is through singing, whether it is simply through humming. Sometimes mine turns into a real kind of like bluesy a cappella riff. And also chanting. And then also having a mantra and repeating that over and over until we can get into a place where we feel we've released that critical energy and we're just more in a place of receptivity and softness, which is a natural state of empathic frequency and resonance. Okay, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video and enjoy the information and stuff that you're getting here, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to my channel. You can also share it with anybody else who you feel would benefit from this. And also you can come over and visit me at thesoultranslator.com or the Sensate Soul, and so that get on the news list there so that we can stay connected. All right, so much love. See you next time. Enjoy being your beautiful, beautiful empathic soul.